Hey, you guys, wanted to make this video for you. Hopefully you can hear me okay. And I'm going to refer back to a ton of notes because I don't want to miss anything. I spent a lot of time writing down, thinking about what I wanted to share with you for my experience about this karmic relationship stuff. Um, and it's really important stuff, and I want you guys to get a sense of what it's all about because it's so confusing, soul relationships and karmic relationships, and what is all this nonsense, right? So I just to preface this, I had many, when I was in Malibu a couple of years ago, I had several karmic relationships and didn't really know what they were. I had three. They were all brief. And only one of them included a little bit of an actual relationship, including sex. But the rest of them were all just these affairs of the heart where I felt so connected to somebody and so in love with somebody and longed for them, and they just kept rejecting me. I was in the forest. I went to the forest in Northern California with one of the people and had a panic attack in the forest, couldn't breathe, and I realized that the guy had killed me in the forest at that moment. So I didn't really get the sense of what all of it was. I thought I was massively in love with these people, and they were just rejecting me, and there was something wrong with me. And now I see even my ex-husband, which I was married to him back in 1990, and I had my daughter in 94, and he and I were married for about 7 years. And that was a very karmic relationship. That was lots of violence, verbal abuse, emotional abuse, some sexual weirdness, just a very, very love-hate, very intense. Even the whole time I was with him, even after the divorce, was immensely painful and abusive, emotionally, verbally abusive. So I didn't understand that either, and I don't think he and I resolved it. So hopefully, maybe I won't come back again. I don't know. I think this may be my last lifetime on Earth, and I think lots of things point to that. Okay, so that being said, let's get into what it means. And I'm going to again follow my notes because I don't want to leave anything out. So again, you guys, anything that's related to karma means unfinished business. I don't know if you guys have heard about twin flame souls. Like, I've met mine, and I love him so much, and he's beautiful. But again, with soul relationships, when they happen, those are for growth as well. There's a lot of love, there's beauty, there's joy, but there's also a lot of challenges and lessons because we're always being challenged at a deeper level to clear and grow and change and shift, right? To move more into our higher selves, our higher ways of being, our more conscious ways of being. Karma is a little different. So again, karma means unfinished business. So you've probably been around many, many lifetimes with these people who come in from a karmic level. And I know that's been true for me. So even though karma feels like sometimes this intense love that's just beyond anything you've ever experienced, and you think that you love this person and you want to be with them, it's not really about love. It's about unresolved issues, unresolved patterns, ways of being, okay? So karmic relationships or meetings, because they don't all turn into relationships, but we have a relationship and we're in anything with anybody for any length of time. They trigger old wounds. They get you out of your comfort zone, or actually, well, it's twofold. They get you out of your comfort zone, but they also keep you in your comfort zone, like repeating patterns, repetitive patterns. You go back to who you were. You act like you used to act when you were unconscious. So, and I'll share a little bit more about, I'm going to put my experience at the end so you guys can kind of put it all together, okay? So, and when you're in the pull of this attraction, the pattern is so familiar, and it's easy to fall back into it because it's what you used to do and it's your old ways of being. Again, it's within that comfort zone, even though you're uncomfortable. Remember this, you guys. Love, real love, even with its ups and downs, it's peaceful, it's respectful. There's room for growth. Like Robert and I, we were together for 2 years. We never had any violence. We never had anything horrible, hideous. We had a lot of challenges. We had a lot of growth. And there was nothing karmic about it. It was a growth experience, and it was a beautiful experience. I'm sure he was a soulmate of a sort, So don't get super wrapped up in it. But the thing, again, about the karmic relationships is that you want to be super aware of what you're doing so you don't repeat the patterns of the past, okay? And so you don't put yourself in harm's way. So a lot of times with karmic relationships, you guys, or meetings, you refuse to believe that they'd hurt you because you feel like you're so in love with them. But karmic relationships, and again, I'm going to go the gamut here because my meeting was for like 3 weeks, but some of them can be like my ex-husband, it can be many, many years, right? So you get to make different choices. You get to know what parameters are around this. So with karmic relationships, it feels like fate, like you're destined to meet each other, to be together, you absolutely just have to be with this person. You have to be with this person. It can include incredible sex, but horrible fights. Like this, there's always this intensity and this never-ending drama, chaos, right? And they come back because you haven't found a way to resolve those aspects of yourself. No, I don't even believe it's necessarily with them. It could be per se, but it's really more about you getting real with you and healing the old patterns and your old ways of being. So every karmic relationship meeting is teaching you a lesson. See the lesson. And remember, you guys, karma is compelling and addictive. Because if it wasn't compelling and addictive, it wouldn't pull you in. You wouldn't see the lesson. And there's an intensity to it that's just outrageous. And so it's for your growth. It's for you to get what's going on and get the lesson. Okay. And when you take charge of your destiny and not allowing anybody else to make your choices or hold you down or have power over you, and you make a choice. Remember, everything's about making a choice. Always, everything's about a choice. You either stay where you are or you move forward. Period, right? Everything shifts in that moment. You feel free, you feel powerful, you feel in control, you've up-leveled, you are becoming and more of who you are. And that's, I believe, where the power that lies. So, okay, so let's talk about the signs, you guys. Again, I wrote all this stuff down because I don't want to miss anything. So when you have a meeting, a karmic meeting, it starts out really hot and heavy. Hot and heavy, hot and heavy, hot and heavy. And then it goes to on and off again. And again, I want to jump in with my experience, but I'm going to wait till the end to explain the whole thing because it's really bizarre. Okay. So it turns to on again and off again. It's carnally driven. And I got some of this online. I got a lot of this from my intuitive friends, and I got a lot of this just because I've had a lot of these patterns, and I got to go within and, see what was creating it. So there's a lot of like sexual intensity, sexual charge off the charts. Like you think that you have to be with this person and just, go at it like rabbits because you want to be with them so badly. And you just, it's very intense, very emotional, like crazy emotional. It can be violent. It can be controlling. It's very addictive. It's addictive. You also get hurt constantly. The other person doesn't have any regard for your feelings, no empathy, none. Very selfish, very self-centered. You can also feel, used or manipulated. Absolutely. Okay. And again, your patterns repeat. And there can also be, like with my ex-husband, it can be violence. I really believe, the more I see this stuff and experience this stuff, that, they talk about crimes of the heart or, crimes of passion. And I really believe that anybody who's ever been killed was in a karmic relationship situation, because that's the only thing I've ever experienced that's off the charts intense, almost to the point where it takes you over. It's like addictive. It's mesmerizing. It's compelling. It pulls you in, and you lose control of your senses. And hopefully you get control at some point, like what happened with me. Okay. Again, selfishness, anger, jealousy, physical, emotional, verbal, sexual violence or abuse. And they're very controlling and very addictive. So let me share my experience, you guys, because it was so bizarre. You know me, I've done so much work and I'm like, not that anymore. But we all have those tendencies, right? A lot of us have codependent tendencies, and we still, even no matter how much work we do, we have a lot of tendencies that we keep repeating. They get better and better, but they come up for us to look at, and rise above. So my experience was this guy. I don't date online. I don't go looking for dates. I don't do any of that stuff. God brings me people, and I go with that. God brought me this person. So clearly it was for my growth, and it's now to help you in your experience as well. So this guy came in online, and I had felt his energy. And that's actually what happened with my twin flame. And he and I actually ended up hooking up and getting together. But this was different. Like with my twin flame, I felt a deep love, like a so deep love that I just adored him and I felt him and I cherished him. This was different. This was like, and the weird thing is the first week or two, this person showed up. We ended up, we texted a lot. We ended up calling each other. He showed up very real, genuine, authentic. And I felt his moods. He's very dark and he hit a lot of walls. And that's when the in and out stuff started happening. And I started questioning things. I'm like, you reel me all in. You want me. You think I'm so amazing. You're telling me everything I want to hear. You want to marry me. You love me. And I'm like, right up from the get-go, right? That's a red flag. It's like, they don't even know me. How can they love me, right? Or want to marry me? So it has an intensity, and an amazing intensity, but still this person came off as someone who was genuine, and they were very disingenuine. And I went into my little girl phase of believing, Beauty and the Beast, somebody's going to come. I found my prince, right? That's where I went. My old patterns, my old little girl, wounds, ways of being, wanting love, and this special kind of love, the hallmark love that I talk about, right? So then things started getting uncomfortable. Because then they turned to a sexual aspect, and it was so like, I haven't felt, anything from my sacral chakra or anything remotely that sexual in years. Been in menopause for 10 years, and I was in relationships and stuff, but they were, kind of flatline. But anyway, the sexual intensity and chemistry was off the charts. Like, he and I talked about wanting to get together, meet halfway. He was in Northern California. And it was just crazy. So he opened my creative flow, which was great. But he also attached to me energetically in their cords, so those get cleared. So I'll share with that in a minute. So anyway, as it progressed, the first time something happened, like I would go into this tailspin with him because I didn't even know why I was doing what I was doing, but he would say things and do things, and I would start feeling weird inside and start feeling unsafe, and I couldn't describe what it was. And I would disconnect, and he was like, okay, that's done. Goodbye. We're over. We're finished. Then I would be heartsick because I wouldn't hear from him, and I would be longing for him. And I had all this weird shit going on, just like this crazy stuff. I couldn't even I'm like, who am I? This is not who I am. What's going on? I'm like reverting back to my old behaviors. And he's like, you're pushing me away. We could have something special. We have a connection, And so we ended up getting back together again for a second time. And he's threatening, this is not going to happen again. I need to not like you, So then he'd get back into the sexual aspect again of it. And so it continued on for a very short time. But what happened was the second time, you guys, this is really important to know. Second time, when I was longing for him, and I was, just like, I was so sad, and all I did was thinking about him. He was attaching to me sexually, energetically. I could feel it all day long, and I couldn't even focus or concentrate on my work or anything else. And so one day I was sitting here, and he popped in on a PM on my Facebook or whatever, and I saw it came up, right? And when it happened, I felt like something smacked me in the face. Like literally, I felt a physical charge, and I jumped. As soon as he PM'd me and it came in, I jumped. There was a physical charge. I was like, whoa, like something hit me. I was like, what's going on? And then I had that sadness, like, oh, he's back. He's thinking about me. He wants me. He longs for me as much as I long for him. Later on that afternoon, another one came through, another PM. The moment the PM popped in, and I, like, literally, this all connected at one time. It was weird, intense. The PM came in. I saw it at the same time it came in, and I felt like somebody took two defibrillator paddles and shocked my chest. I literally jumped. I felt a shock in my chest. And that day I had an appointment, and I went, and I couldn't even breathe or walk up the stairs because it was like something happened to my heart. My heart on the left side, my lungs felt really heavy. I couldn't breathe. Like there was something physical that happened to me. It was weird. So later I talked to my daughter, and she's always right. She's a goddess. And of course I was in the phase of I didn't believe her. This guy was the guy for me, right? Gonna marry him, gonna get together with him. And she said, Mom, that's called an amygdala hijack. And if you want to look that up, you can. It's AMY, like Amy, and then DALA, amygdala hijack. What that is, my daughter explained to me, who's so brilliant, is that it's a physical response. It's a trigger to a deep wounding that happened before, where there's intense fear or fear of being harmed or threatened. She was exactly right. If only I had known, right? Like a predator response to a predator. So anyway, long story short, third time we got together, right? And he went off the deep end with texting about sexual stuff. He was supposed to call me. He sent me into this space where I felt very vulnerable and unsafe around my breast. He wanted to see my breast cancer site, my right breast. And I started feeling very unsafe and very vulnerable. And I spoke it. And he was so rude and so mean. Are you insecure? If you're insecure, that causes problems. So he sent me into this tailspin. He had no empathy, no feelings for me. And it's like, you're doing it again. Are you doing this again? This is it. And it's just like, you ruined this. You. Of course, I kind of ripped him a new a-hole when I responded in the text. But I just decided, as much as I want this man and I feel like I want to be here, there's something that's not right. There's something off. It's making me sick. So I disconnected and I said, this is it. I'm done. You're not the one. I'm not doing this anymore. I've been with narcissists, abusers, etc. I'm not going to go back and do this again. So we disconnected. It was really hard. And I still think of him sometimes. But long story short, I walked away, and literally within a day of walking away and kind of working through those feelings of loss and longing, but standing in my power, I literally started having these more intensified moments of joy. Because I felt Spirit was telling me, number one, you're supposed to be focusing on your business right now. Number two, you are not who you used to be. So that's an old pattern that was repeating, a wounding that you haven't worked through. All those men that you had, all the men you were married to, or lived with for 15 years or whatever, it's this pattern. And these patterns keep coming up until you resolve them or stop them, right? And you become more. As you do that, you become more, and that's what creates change. You become more conscious and you don't repeat those. So I walked away, and I knew it was clear within a day or two that I really made the right decision by walking away, because I was in my power. I was more powerful. I had more joy. And I still think about it because it's sad, because this guy had so many amazing aspects, kids, grandkids, great job, been around a long time, attractive, and I really felt love for him. But what I found is I actually went to 3 of my intuitive friends. I'm very intuitive, but a lot of times we don't trust our intuition when we're in a situation like this. So we want to gather more information. So I read about things. I called a couple of my friends who are very intuitive. And what I found out was this. Number one, always make sure, as a sensitive, intuitive, creative empath, that you are clearing and protecting your space, protecting yourself with white light, surrounding yourself with white light, calling in Archangel Michael, Raphael, anybody that you feel called to call in. And then you get to go through a process when anything like this happens, and we should be doing this on a regular basis anyway, especially me, because I work with a lot of people, and I don't always go there because a lot of times I'm just busy and I jump in. But we get to clear cords. You can cut cords, clear them. I like to pull cords, energetic cords out wherever I'm feeling it. So the heart, for me here, the heart and the sacral chakra, the sexual channel, the creative channel. So literally, I imagine them being pulled out at the roots, because if I cut them, there's something left. So for me, I pull them out at the roots, and then I send them back to that person with love. Then I pull them out of that person, right? Mine, bring them back into my body, and create that boundary around us. You guys, you got to understand, the light is being shown on the planet right now so much. It's dredging up, and we always have light and dark. We have this yin and yang, always yin and yang all the time, right? But the light is so intense that it's dredging up the dark. So with that being said, when these things happen, you get to walk away or not, but you get to see where you're at in your journey. And when you walk away and choose not to go there, it's so much better for you. I found out that this guy, I had thought that he was killed and taken from me. So I thought there was an abandonment issue. But I wasn't 100% spot on, because I didn't really want to see the truth. What I found out was that this guy had raped and killed me in several lifetimes. Therefore, the sexual charge, the God, I want to be with you. It's addictive, it's like crazy ass passion, right? So when I was told that, it just reverberated through my entire being, and I cried. I just cried and cried because I knew it was true. And it was crazy because I thought about the many times, we were going to meet someplace neutral, Vegas, Hawaii, or I was going to go up there, and he was going to come down here. And he kept talking about like not wanting to be, displaying affection in public, but when we were in private. And oftentimes when I think about that, I thought, I don't even know this guy. Like, what if I never came home? And this guy is an upstanding guy in his community. He's done a lot of nice things, but these are these crimes of passion, right? Like, what if he went into that crime space, you know, because they're stepping into a space of something they had done, their karma. To me, what if they repeat it? Which can happen. It happens. People are killed and raped all the time, and not in that order, or maybe in that order, right? So I was so thankful that, number one, he doesn't know my address. He doesn't know where I live. Number two, that I walked away and that I disconnected. I was grateful for meeting him, and I sent gratitude for the lesson that I got, which is I am powerful, that I'm done with those experiences. I don't need to or desire to experience them any longer. I see what they are. Again, guys, love feels good. And even with the ups and downs of love, if there's disrespect, abuse, addiction, anything compelling, somebody who's not listening to your feelings, someone who's, you know, completely disregarding how you feel, someone who's demanding and controlling, etc., right? When there's anything that has a charge that's that intense around it, you don't have to be with them to resolve the karma. Like, I always thought that I had to go into a karmic relationship to actually work through that karma with somebody. Number one, you don't want to put yourself in danger, right? Number two, my ex-husband and I never resolved anything. We didn't clear anything. So I'll probably have to come, if I come back again, I still think this is my last time on earth. But if for some reason it's not, I don't know what God has for me. I may have to repeat that with my ex-husband until we resolve it. I did get divorced, but nothing's resolved. So you don't have to repeat those patterns. And as you become more and you make better choices for yourself, you get to stand in that. And that's where your power lies. Making different choices for yourself. And this is all of life. Choosing for your highest and best good. Where do you want to go now? Who are you becoming now? Because you actually making those choices and stepping into different ways of being are what change you, and what changes your reality and changes your world and dissolves old karma and old ways of being and increases your inner fire and your confidence. That's what happens. So be aware. Reach out for support if you are not sure, or just get confirmation with anybody who is an intuitive, anybody who can really tap in for you. Get clarity, get support. Don't walk it alone. Okay? All right. So I hope this was helpful. I mean, I know in a lot of places, but there are a lot of aspects to it I wanted to cover. And so I hope it's helpful. If you have any questions, reach out to me, thebeautyofauthenticity@gmail.com, or you can PM me. You know where I am. Okay? And yeah, like that. All right, you guys. Love you so much. And I will talk to you guys soon. Again, reach out if you need me. I'm here for support. All right. Bye now.